In this photo, the English wizard Alex Sanders, self-proclaimed King of Witches, is initiating a young novice into the mysteries of the magical arts. The wizard placed the naked novice in a circle, then lay on top and recited incantations. Thus, the girl became a witch. Sanders died on April 30th, 1988, after a prolonged battle with lung cancer. A police photo of an arrested girl for non-traditional sexual orientation, USA, 1940. Dogs line up for a dose of coca leaf extract for an experiment, Peru, 1950. Home massage, 19th century. Anonymous nurse, New York, 1940s. A 32-year-old nurse strangled her lover, a doctor, with a silk belt during a BDSM session in an apartment. He had requested asphyxiation, but she overdid it out of jealousy since the doctor was cheating on her. The court ruled it as an accident. German soldiers carry the coffin with the remains of Napoleon II, the only legitimate son of Napoleon, Paris, December 1940. In case of war, evacuate children, cover the windows, kill the cat, 1939, United Kingdom. Belt made from human nipples, one of the horrific artifacts belonging to serial killer and necrophile Ed Gein. The most obscene swimsuits of the 19th century. The Tougaloo Nine, 1961. 9 students who entered a whites-only library in Mississippi and were subsequently arrested. 2 childhood friends meet during a strike. One is a striker, the other is a police officer. France, 1972. Elvis Presley waits for eggs and bacon, while a black woman waits for her sandwich. Colored people were not allowed to sit. Tennessee, 1956. Farmers await the start of a slave market in St. Louis, 1852. A British Army infantry regiment before heading to war in 1914, and after its end in 1918. Animal experiments to determine the effects of being upside down for long periods in a NASA laboratory, USA, 1958. A dancer, behind her, an atomic explosion, Nevada, 1950. The photograph was taken aboard a British ship. These children, just rescued from slavery, 1868. A crowd gathers at an information board showing the names of survivors from the Titanic sinking, New York, 1912. Scouts from Rockaway Camp grow beards in support of Fidel Castro's revolution in Cuba, New Jersey, 1963. The wedding of Freddie Mercury's parents, 1946. When Soviet scientists created the world's first controlled thermonuclear fusion reactor and reached plasma temperatures of 10 million degrees, human zoos still existed in Europe, 1954. When Stalin died, the Ukrainian diaspora restaurant in Washington served free borscht, March 9, 1953. The Institute of Oral Love, 1971. Refugee children from the city of Kayseri, orphaned as a result of the Armenian genocide, arrive at an orphanage, Syria, 1920. A Viet Cong deserter shows Americans how partisans overcome barbed wire obstacles, Vietnam, 1967. Rabbit invasion in Australia. In 1859, Englishman Thomas Austin released 24 rabbits into the wild to add native touches to the Australian landscape. The Australian climate allowed the voracious animals to breed year-round. By 1926, Australia had an estimated 20 billion rabbits. George Moore, the living skeleton, and Fred Howe, the fat man. Intermedial actors and the world's funniest boxers. USA, 1897. An Alda dressed in a sea lion skin. Alaska, 1900. In the 1940s, women were allowed to smoke in maternity wards. Day Lavender Panthers, a radical militarized gay group that existed in San Francisco in 1973. The group aimed to defend LGBT rights with arms, as the police were inactive, and attacks on gays and transvestites were rarely investigated. A Sailor Requests an Extraordinary Discharge, 1967. The head of an extinct dodo bird, kept in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. This is the only preserved head of the extinct animal. A newspaper seller selling the latest edition, 1939. 19-year-old David Isom walked through a white-only pool, after which officials closed the facility. Florida, 1958. Bern University rejected Albert Einstein for a professorship, stating, "Your theory seems interesting, but more like art than science." Two families of workers from a confectionery factory rent a corner in a room. Russia, 1923. Bulldozers demolish illegally built huts by the poor, USA, during the Great Depression. The British Crown colony of Hong Kong under British sovereignty. About 130,000 people live in such huts on the water, 1960s. A man celebrated the end of Prohibition in the USA, December 5, 1933. Soviet and Polish troops liberate prisoners from the Sachsenhausen concentration camp, Germany, 1945. An unofficial photo of Joseph Stalin when he learned of the German invasion. Native American Sachin Little Feather refuses the Oscar Award, 1973. In the category of Best Actor, Marlon Brando won for his role in The Godfather. However, he refused to attend the ceremony, and instead, a Native American woman took the stage. She addressed the audience saying, "Marlon regrets not being able to attend, but he refuses the award due to the terrible treatment of Native Americans in the U.S." Koreans defend their stores during the Los Angeles riots, 1992. A German man accused of having relations with a Jewish woman. The caption reads, "I am a race defiler." Germany, 1935. Adolf Hitler visits the Dresden exhibition of degenerate art, 1935. English women demand the right to serve in the military, citing that Italian women are allowed, 1915. Jane Mansfield poses with the winner of the Miss Hollywood contest, 1957. Korean War veterans display experimental prostheses, South Korea, 1955. An automated robot imitating human speech, USA, 1845. In 1939, the British police deported Jews who had left Czechoslovakia after its occupation by Nazi Germany. Jews were denied residence in the UK due to incorrect documentation. This photograph, which you see on your screen, later became known as deportation to death. The Shanghai waterfront is filled with evacuation boats after the Communists' victory in China, 1946. The kanga used in China to punish criminals for minor offenses, 1910. 2 boards are attached, with crimes and punishments. Every day, a person with the kanga on their neck is paraded in public for ridicule. The punishment can last up to 30 days, and the boards must not be removed day or night. According to the 1897 census, only about 25% of the population of Russia had surnames. Also, many people did not know their age. In the 19th century, Atheist George Hall had a debate with a believer about whether giants once roamed the earth. Believing that people would believe anything written in the Bible, Hall carved a statue of a giant man, made it look petrified, and buried it in the ground in Cardiff, New York. He waited more than a year before digging up the Cardiff Giant, charging people to come see it. By the time he was exposed, he had made nearly $500,000. The residents of Borena near the Christian school await the appearance of the Virgin Mary, whom a few kids supposedly saw there the day before. Belgium, 1933. A farmer caught a wild pig that was eating his dogs. Australia, 1980. A protest against racial integration in schools. USA, 1959. Edith Piaf and Prisoners, Germany, 1944. During a performance at a camp, the singer took a photo with 120 prisoners. Upon returning to Paris, she sent the photo to an underground workshop where the prisoners' faces were re-photographed for fake documents. She later returned to the same camp, hiding the documents in a suitcase with a false bottom. She smuggled out some people as musicians, while others escaped later. A visitor to the underground catacombs with a candle in hand smiles while examining an extensive collection of skulls. Paris, 1935. A parade of the German-American Alliance in support of Hitler in New York, 1939. The crew of the Challenger space shuttle that perished in an explosion 73 seconds into flight. All crew members died, 1986. Los Angeles police stop an ostrich-drawn carriage for speeding, 1930. East German officers are afraid to shake hands with a West Berlin resident on the day the Berlin Wall fell, November 10, 1989. Dolphin Hunters in the Black Sea, USSR, 1947. Dolphin meat was sold on post-war store shelves. The USSR ceased dolphin hunting in 1966. An aerial photograph of a field where German soldiers held Soviet POWs near Kharkov, 1942. In July 1984, 41-year-old James Oliver Huberty told his wife he likely had a mental problem. He tried to make an appointment at a neurotic clinic, but received no callback. Later, he told his wife he was going hunting for people, drove to the nearest McDonald's, and began methodically shooting the patrons and employees. In 77 minutes, until he was shot by a sniper, Huberty killed 21 people and wounded 19. The escort of a black man accused of raping a white woman, 1941. Baby races, popular sports competitions in New Jersey from 1946 to 1955. The stump of a giant cedar used as a post office, USA, Washington State, late 19th century. The unloading of bodies after the ferry Doña Pass collided with an oil tanker in 1987, resulting in about 4,300 deaths. The largest peacetime maritime disaster. The cause of the tragedy was negligence from the crew. There was only one person on the bridge while the rest of the officers were resting, watching TV, and drinking beer. Life vests were locked up, and no ship sent an SOS. It tested the strength of a pipe with the inventor inside. Canada, 1920. Combat donkey Turkey, 1930s. Jewish refugees aboard the ocean liner St. Louis returning to Europe after being denied entry to Cuba, the USA, and Canada, 1939. The Loyalty Dance, a ritual dance symbolizing devotion to the country's leader Mao Zedong, China, 1967. Soldiers participate in a staged photograph to illustrate the harmful effects of ignoring a gas mask during a gas attack. France, 1916. Sponge vendor, Austria-Hungary, 1904. Experimental aerocycle by De Lackner, which was not adopted for use due to safety concerns for the pilot, USA, 1956. Chicago explodes in rage the day after Martin Luther King Jr.'s death as people take to the streets, USA, 1968. A test of the strength of a kiss on a lie detector, 1939. The car in which Princess Diana and Dodi Al-Fayed were traveling after the car accident on August 31st, 1997. The annual funeral of Mr. Gernhardt, 1951. Farmer Jim Gernhardt, 75, in his new coffin during the first rehearsal of his own annual funeral, which he continued to hold every year for the next 3 decades until his death at 103. Thieves attack a store in the commercial area of Caledonia, Panama City, during the U.S. invasion of Panama, 1989. The Iranian Revolution, a crowd chasing and beating a supporter of the Shah, Tehran, 1979. American women donate nylon stockings to the Army, light, durable, and thick. They were ideal for use as powder bags for artillery, USA, 1944. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.